Alrighty, Andrew, you are getting us rocking and rolling for the day. Let's start really, really simple. What is Unicoin? Is it a crypto? Is it a trading platform? Give us the overview as to what Unicoin is.
All right, thank you, Luke, and thank you everybody else for joining us today. Unicoin is what we call a second generation crypto, and we'll talk about that a little bit more today. But it's going to be an asset-backed crypto. So what makes that different is, now there's 60,000 plus cryptos. Now the first one I'd talk about is probably Bitcoin, a store of value. Then you have a whole set of other cryptos that have some functionality. They might process payments as an example. Well, we think the next generation is going to be the tokenization of real-world assets. So we're creating a crypto that is going to be backed by a whole portfolio of assets. Why don't I stop there and we'll talk a little bit more about it. But the real-world assets that it's going to be backed originally, right now it's backed by equity securities. And it's a variety of equity securities, equities, options, and warrants. We also have a pool of real estate assets that are going to back the coin. We'll go through this, but we have a little over $1 billion of assets that we actually expect to close and back the coin. Now, this coin will be backed by real-world assets, and saying, even at this conference, that it's a real-world asset, one of the problems that I see in crypto is the lack of transparency. You have no idea if what somebody is saying they're actually doing. Well, one differentiating factor for us is we're a public reporting company. So don't believe a word I'm going to say on this stage. Go on the SEC website, go look up our financials. You'll be able to actually see these real-world assets listed on our balance sheet. But we don't stop there. You don't want just a company to say you're actually doing something. We're actually an audited company. So our firm is audited, so you can actually go on there, and these assets we're bringing on, I'll just use an example of real estate. Our first transaction is a Thai resort that we're bringing onto the balance sheet. And of that, it's not just us that gets an independent valuation, an independent audit of that or appraisal of that asset. Our auditors also go and hire a valuation firm that audit that as well. So it should give you the credibility and the comfort that what we're saying, we're getting assets, you have the ability to go look at those assets and make your judgment yourself to say, hey, do I believe what they're saying? Are they actually going to go get those assets?
So Andrew, let me ask you this. 12 months ago, almost exactly 12 months ago, crypto prices were in a decline, and we saw a wave of bankruptcies, most notably, of course, being FTX. There was a start of a crypto winter then. We're certainly in a crypto winter now. Is crypto dead? Is it going to come back? Is the question that's on a lot of people's minds.
Honestly, how I would have answered that question, a month ago would have been similar to the way the rest of the crypto market answers that question. I think up until about a month ago, a lot of people would say crypto is dead. The bull market hasn't stopped it. This is the accumulation phase. However, since that time, we've had some major developments. We've had Ripple, winning their lawsuit and saying, okay, the secondary trading of XRP is not a banned activity according to the SEC or by the SEC. You've had BlackRock come out and say, okay, they want to file for the first, Bitcoin ETF at that firm. Now, there have been other firms that have now done that as well. But it's certainly not dead. So despite the fact that you've had all of these large drops and this volatility, what we think is going to happen in the next generation of cryptos is you're going to have reduced volatility. In fact, significantly reduced volatility as institutional markets come in and become investors in the crypto market. So absolutely not. I don't think crypto is dead.
Okay, so my follow-up to that one would be, how do you get investors to care? All right, when you're thinking about your business, what is it that you need to communicate with the market, or what is it that you need to do to get investors to care?
One, they have to learn about you. So one thing I encourage people for us to, when you come out of this meeting, what I would love for you to do is just say, okay, I've heard a little bit about Unicoin. Go onto our website. Go find out what we're doing. I think the biggest thing and one of the largest reasons why cryptos fail is because they don't even tell people what they specifically do. Not only what they do, because I think our biggest job before we tokenize, and we're targeting tokenization in a very soon period. We want to let people know, what do we do? What is Unicoin? What are these assets that are backing it? Why is it different? Why is it different than the 60,000 plus cryptos that are out there? So to me, we have to tell people what we are, and not only that, prove to them what we are. And I think that's one thing that makes our company so different. The fact that we're publicly reporting, the fact that we have audited financial statements, the fact that we're going to be asset-backed, that you don't have to believe what I'm going to do. You can first go to our website, and if you want to drill even into it further, go into our financial statements. And frankly, we've done a brand new campaign where we are now taking our tokens, our Unicoin securities, and we're now trading those and buying real estate. And we think this has just opened up a world of opportunities for us, because what we found out was there's a large number of real estate buyers in the marketplace that have an illiquid asset. And that illiquid asset, they want to get some liquidity. Their liquidity event is getting our token, and when we tokenize, selling the token at some point in the future. What we anticipated was the fact that how much interest they would have. We now have I'm the CFO, and even I'm getting overwhelmed with the amount of deals and interest that we have, right? I would say the amount of deal flow that we're actually looking at, and in the due diligence period, it's well over $1 billion. I'm hopeful it'll grow to $2 to $3 billion. Because what we found is there's a niche of people out there with real estate who want access to the crypto markets, and they don't have the access to it. And what they've learned is the more we take our crypto, we want to take a pool of our crypto, buy assets, take those assets to back the value of the crypto. That is the entire premise of what we're trying to do with our cryptocurrency. And what we found is the more assets we're getting, the more interest we're getting. So the more interest we're getting, the more assets we can then bring on board. I actually think, eventually if we get this right, build this mousetrap right, a lot of other companies are going to replicate this. I'm the CFO though, so I'm hoping, hey, maybe we could, maybe if we get enough property, a large REIT would want to, purchase this. Maybe another, asset manager. I'm looking beyond that, but I'm kind of going, wow, we have found something here where originally we thought we have a Unicorn Hunter show. So we have a show that, is Kevin O'Leary here? I don't see him, but we have a show that's very similar to Shark Tank. It's like Shark Tank 2.0. The main difference is a company comes on board, and say you're the company, you're presenting to a group of people behind a desk, very similar to Shark Tank. The big difference is you're the buyer of the company's equity, not the people around the table. The people around the table can buy it, but the whole premise of the show is to bring select pre-IPO investment opportunities to you, me, and other people around the world. So we've created this, what we think are a global audience of millions of people, of viewers, that potentially can have access to this, because every person that's a high net worth or an ultra high net worth person who's well covered by Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley, there's probably 10,000 other investments who never get the opportunity to even look at those opportunities. So that, again, what we're trying to do is we have these shows, we produce and distribute the show, we get a payment from the companies, which is in the form of equity. They can also pay with cash, but generally early stage companies want to pay with equity. They give us the equity. We've used that equity so far to back the value of the coin. So we started out thinking, well, we have a marketing and a distribution channel to get a bunch of equity securities that can back the coin. And now we've opened it up to real estate. And remember, as the CFO, I'm hoping we don't just stop at real estate. Why not? If we can do real estate and it's an illiquid asset class, maybe we can do other asset classes like fixed income securities, loans, and a variety of other assets that have illiquid characteristics somewhat similar to real estate.
And just to follow up on that, so you mentioned $1 billion of deal flow right now. Is it primarily like venture stage equity investments? Is real estate a big component of it? But what do those assets look like now?
No, the $1 billion is just real estate. but it is everything from raw, undeveloped land, entire islands, say for in the Bahamas as an example of it, all the way to all the way to villas in Thailand. We have mining rights, so copper mining rights in Argentina, and since we've even closed on that deal, closed in the sense of we have a signed contract, but we haven't changed the title yet because we have to create a subsidiary in Argentina, and that takes some time. But that deal alone, copper prices have already gone up 20% since even when we signed the deal. So again, it's not one type of asset class. We have hotels. We have hotels in the Philippines, fully running, cash flow generating hotels. So honestly, it's everything from undeveloped land all the way to cash, generating assets.
Got it. And so, like when you're communicating to the world about Unicoin, are you communicating that, hey, be interested in these assets and that's a reason to participate? Or is it more so, hey, there's these hard assets to back the value and there's other benefits of using Unicoin or being a part of Unicoin?
I think that's a great question. And marketing is not my forte or background, so I don't know if I'll answer that the exact way our marketing group would want us to have it answered. But genuinely, I think what makes us unique? There are 60,000 plus cryptos in the marketplace. Why would you possibly look at us? Well, we have a strong management team, or a team that we believe is a strong management team. We've been able to grow this in less than 1 year from what we think are going to be about 0 assets to what we think are going to be over $1 billion plus of assets. We've had these hurdles and these successes, and we ask you to challenge us and go check it out and determine it for your own self. Are we doing what we're saying we're doing? Because I'm excited. I don't think we're just going to stop there. In fact, I want to not only tokenize the asset, I want to continue on with all of these asset acquisitions, because it gets even easier for me as the CFO. Once we tokenize it, now we have a currency, in effect, a token that I can go into the market and sell into the market if I wanted to. That's not our plan, because we don't want to, obviously we want to make sure demand, our primary goal is to get demand much greater than any kind of selling pressure that might happen on that. So we want demand greater than supply on any given date, so we can ensure that we have a strong and a growing token price.
And you've talked about where we are today, right? Where Unicoin exists today. Give us a little bit of what inspired the creation. Like, I know that the show that you mentioned existed. What inspired the creation, and what should we be most excited about looking forward?
What initially inspired it was we have 2 visionary founders who it started genuinely with the show. We created the show, so we produced the show, we distribute the show. And in fact, on that show, now we're getting a variety of these equity payments that are kind of coming on the balance sheet. And we thought, well, we could just keep those, hold those, or better yet, hey, maybe we should create something like a fund. Maybe we should create a pool of assets that are going to back this. And then, so that got us thinking well, we're not a fund management company, but we think crypto is here to stay. We think tokens are here to stay. We think the blockchain is going to revolutionize a lot of different industries. And so for our own company, we actually thought, well, wait a minute, how can we use blockchain and with a pool of assets? And that's really the 2 we're trying to marry. It's not as if we're trying to take steps to grow a portfolio of assets that you're going to be able to see on the blockchain and see transactions on the blockchain. And we think over time, you're going to get a diversified pool of assets that you're going to be able to benefit from. And that's the idea. The idea is to, where do we see this going forward? Our target is to do 50 shows a year, so that could create a pool of equity investments coming into this pool of assets. we're going to continue on. We're going to grow. We want to grow from $1 billion to $2 billion to $3 billion of real estate. So there's going to be a real estate component to these backing these assets. But even since we've done that in the last few weeks, we've had other people come to us with, I don't know, remember the exact things, but it was like $100 million of art. So other illiquid assets, and I can only imagine that eventually it would probably go to coins, it would go to gold, it would go to other assets that are illiquid or less liquid, and I think that we could bring those into the pool of assets as well. But I wouldn't stop there. I think we'll eventually get public equity shares, not just private equity shares, public equity shares, and then fixed income instruments.
As a CFO, it seems like a very exciting project to be a part of. You have the technology component, you have the set of assets that you're building. And Andrew, let me ask you this. So I made 3 promises at the start of our day. I'll keep reiterating them throughout the day. The first one is that every time you turn around, there's going to be somebody worth talking to. Second, sit with people you don't know and you will not regret it. And the third was to make sure you follow up and you will not regret following up. Where should people go if they want to learn more?
We actually have a booth downstairs. You'll see the Unicoin logo on the booth. So I'd encourage you to go up to anybody at the booth that's going to be there, myself included. Ask us about it. Challenge us. Ask us to show you what are those assets. Well, if you want, we can spend 45 minutes talking about if you just want the real estate assets or the actually equity assets. But what makes us different? I think we'd be excited to kind of talk to you about it. And as the CFO, if you really want, we can dive into as much of the actual financial information on the firm as you'd like to. So you can just go down the set of stairs over here, look for our booth, and grab anybody at the booth. Ask any questions you have.
Andrew, thank you very much for being a part of this today.
All right, thank you very much.